MeMonster.
Chapter 241. Early morning, after anything logged off. After finishing my personal training, I called for Iselle. "What's up, Loki?" Iselle, dressed in loose pajamas, rubbed her eyes and floated over to me. She looked like she had just woken up from a deep sleep. I felt bad for disturbing her, but I had something urgent to ask. I cleared my throat and quickly explained the situation. "Uh-huh," Iselle nodded. "So the master made a friend, and that friend is close to him on Earth. But soon after that friend started the game, they want to send you as a helper?" Unless Jinho cleared the missions up to the 20th floor, anything couldn't help him. But here I was, receiving orders to be dispatched along with the Lucette ship. That meant the command had gone through. There should have been a message saying it's not possible. Could this be a bug? I wanted you to check. "Oh, that's not a bug." "What?" Iselle drew a large circle with her right hand. Stardust fluttered, and a holographic window appeared in the air. "Enjoy Pick Me Up with Friends, an update by newbies, for newbies, and about newbies." 1. Giving up already? 2 premium summoning tickets are awarded immediately to new masters who complete the tutorial. Here's your chance to get a 5-star hero for free. Start the game now. It's the perfect time. 2. Go to your friends. Is your newbie friend struggling with the tough difficulty? Was it hard to watch? No worries. No. As long as your friends, even masters below the 20th floor, can use the Dimensional Rift feature, albeit with limitations. 3. Invite friends and get rewards. Puck. This event is for existing users. I read through the notice slowly. The problem was with point number 2, the Go to Your Friends section. So if your friends, even below the 20th floor, you can send a dispatch? I looked at Iselle quietly. When was this patched? Right after Loki reached the 50th floor. Iselle cleared her throat a couple of times before continuing. There was an emergency at the company. Apparently, a game that copied Pick Me Up's concept has been climbing the App Store rankings. They're taking all the new users. So to attract new customers, they changed the system. Exactly. I held my forehead. I never expected to be blindsided like this. The Dimensional Rift had been part of the system since the game's release. I never imagined it would change overnight. Well, it's a game after all. This place was both a reality and a game. Rules could change anytime due to patches. I seem to have forgotten that for a moment. So this dispatch isn't a bug either. Right. Soon you'll be sent to the friends' waiting room. I frowned. I thought I'd finally have some personal time. But it's just a dispatch. Think of it as a vacation and take it easy while you're there. You don't plan on staying, right? No, absolutely not. Iselle let out a sigh of relief, as if she was glad to hear that. Then, with a cheerful voice, she winked at me and said, "I don't care if that master's waiting room gets ruined or not, so go ahead and cause as much chaos as you want. Loki, good luck." With that, Iselle waved her right hand at me, spun around, and disappeared. So I'm supposed to help, huh? This is ridiculous. I sighed deeply. I didn't know what anything was thinking. The reason I had helped the master so far was for my own benefit. The stronger Townia became, the more it directly impacted my survival. But this had nothing to do with my survival. Even if Jinho-Jan quit, it wouldn't affect me. This time, there was no benefit to me. It was purely volunteer work. I guess I'll just kill some time and come back. Anything probably doesn't expect much from me either. There wouldn't be much I could do once I got there. Clear the missions? That's impossible since I belong to a different faction. I might be able to redo a floor they've already cleared, but I can't climb the tower in their place. At best, I could offer a few suggestions, and even that would require Iselle's help, and the master would have to accept them. Townia is unique. Ordinary heroes have very little to do. The scheduled departure time for the dispatch was early morning. The distance between anything, who is in the 50s, and Jinho-Jan, who hasn't even reached the 10th floor, must be quite far. It seemed like it would be a tiring journey. Even if I returned to the dormitory now, I wouldn't get more than 3 hours of sleep. It would be better to sleep on the way there. This is so annoying. I closed the door to my personal training room. And so, morning came. Without even getting to say goodbye to my team members, I boarded an express airship. After some time had passed, 003117 Dimension RAM, I arrived at a place presumed to be Jinho John's dimension. The name of the dimension was Ram. A tower of unimaginable height stood above a vast blue sea. Whoom. The Lucette ship I was on slid into the swirling vortex of the dimension near the corner of the tower. There was no dock here, so I would have to jump directly into the vortex. The waiting room facilities were sparse, so it was to be expected. It's a hassle, but there's no other choice. Well, if I just kill some time here, anything will probably realize it's pointless and send me back. At that moment, the airship flew right next to the dimensional vortex. I lightly jumped over the railing and threw myself into the spiral. The familiar sensation of falling, which I had experienced hundreds of times, swept over my body. When I opened my eyes again, a scene that was both unfamiliar and familiar entered my view. A dark room, metal shelves were set up. Large and small cardboard boxes were scattered all over the shelves. A waiting room storage. It was more than a shack than a storage. Well, since it's only level 1, there's nothing that can be done about it. Townia also used to store items in places like this. Creak! With a creepy sound, the storage door opened. A cold wind brushed across my cheek, revealing a wide open space. It was the waiting room plaza. The master is logged in. The sky was flashing white. It was an indication that the master was logged in. An announcement window must have popped up on Jinho-chan's screen, telling him that a friend's hero had arrived. But, judging by the lack of response, he probably was doing something else while the game was running. A hero? Wow, a really strong-looking person is here. A voice, unsure if it was an exclamation or just talking to herself, echoed. Then I heard someone running over. I turned my head. Hey, mister, can you see me? She was waving her hand in front of my face. You're not blind or anything, right? I squinted at the woman in front of me. She was in her early 20s at best. She wore a purple cloak and a gray skirt, with a white shirt underneath. Her glossy light brown hair was braided into two. My name is Cardi Aluru. And you? Where are you from? I graduated top of the class from Surami Academy.
I slowly looked around the plaza. So, is there no one else here besides you? A green monster. Was it called a goblin? I'd only seen them in books before. Is there really no one else here? I grabbed the woman's chattering mouth. I asked if there's no one else here. Me, her. Miss, this is the first time I've seen anyone. Don't call me mister, unless you want to get hurt. What should I call you then? Oppa? I continued my thoughts while keeping a hold on the woman's mouth. It seemed like she was the only one here. If that's the case, there's a high chance she's the first hero to have been summoned. She's not a 1-star, though. I could tell just by her appearance. She's unrefined, but this one can use magic. That means she's a high-level hero, at least 3 stars. She doesn't seem to be lying. If this one was summoned when there were no other heroes in the waiting room, it means there hasn't been a fusion with a 1-star hero. That narrows down the possibilities. One of the few ways this could happen is if the initial 1-star hero died in battle with a goblin. It's rare, but not unheard of. In that case, the fusion tutorial is skipped entirely. Where's Iselle? Iselle? Who's that? She's the one who manages the waiting room. No, never mind. I shook my head. Why am I even bothering to explain this? I decided to just go to the dormitory and get some sleep. Wait a minute, mister. Where are you going leaving in the middle of a conversation? Let go. You seem to know a lot about this place. Could you tell me more? I don't really understand the situation here. I don't understand it either. Wow, that's a blatant lie. Anyway, whether you know or not, don't leave. I'm bored from being alone all this time. Just talk with me. Click, click. I turned to the doorknob of the dormitory, but it wouldn't open. Is it because I'm not part of this place? Damn it. Are they discriminating against me because I'm here on a dispatch? Open this door. Nope. If you listen to what I have to say, I'll think about it. A headache was starting to come on. I leaned against the wall of the plaza and sat down.
I wish Jinho Jang would come and send that girl on a mission, but I couldn't tell what he was doing. Anyway, you got a message from the goddess too, right? Are we going to fight together for Rom? The mention of the goddess suggested that this girl was at least a 4-star. Is it the 3rd floor? Yes, I've cleared up to there. The goddess told me I'd have companions, but I've been alone the whole time. I almost died of loneliness. She's saying she soloed up to the 3rd floor. With the current newbie event, Jinho Jang could have summoned twice for free, and yet she's still alone. I looked around the waiting room again. This is the default waiting area given when you install the game. There wasn't even a basic training facility installed. I could guess Jinho Jang's playstyle from this. He doesn't seem to be very interested in the game. I've dealt with this type a lot, so I know it well. They play half-heartedly, and when things don't go smoothly or they lose interest, they quit immediately. And then they look for another game. In short, he's a transient user. At least Anything had bothered to look up a guide. That's why she installed the training center first thing. Clearing up to the 3rd floor without summoning heroes or building facilities means he has no intention of seriously playing the game. He might even be playing another game while leaving Pick Me Up running in the background. I'm about to head to the 4th floor. It would be nice if you could help, but I can handle it on my own. The first 3 floors weren't much. The 5th floor is off limits. Cardia blinked and looked at me. What do you mean? If you don't want to die, train. Get some companions, plan your strategy well. When the master returns, suggest that he summons more heroes and builds a training center. Summoning? Training center? If you go to the 5th floor with that kind of mindset, you'll die. But it's been easy so far. I stood up and kicked the ground. I rushed toward the babbling Cardia and pressed my forehead against hers. Her red eyes reflected my face. What did I just say? You said summoning and training center. Right, summoning and training center. After a new recruit joins, analyze their strengths. Appoint a leader and form a team. Practice as a team so that you can handle any mission. Do this before you go to the 5th floor. Wow, Oppa, you're really fast. I couldn't even see you move. You must be really strong, huh? And you're really weak. What? What do you mean? Click. I pulled a dagger from the sheath behind my belt. Cardia didn't even react until I slashed at her cloak 5 times. Shriek. The cut pieces of her cloak fell to the floor of the plaza. Huh? Do you get it now? Even if there were 100 of you, you wouldn't stand a chance against me. I've been here much longer than you, so if you don't want to die, just do as I say. How did you do that? Was it magic? I just moved quickly. That's a lie! Stop being annoying. Do you have to argue with every single thing I say? Geez, why do you have to talk like that? This kid, she just won't back down.
Chapter 242. I sat down in the plaza of the waiting room, chatting with Cardia. Well, I sat. She just kept talking nonstop. Cardia didn't hold back, sharing all sorts of personal stories I never asked for. Annoying. Jinho Jang still had the game open, but wasn't playing. What a waste of battery. So where are you from, mister? Tonia. Tonia? Never heard of that place. Of course you haven't. It doesn't exist in your world. I'm from another world. I'm only here for a short while before I return. I smirked and continued, It means I'm not your ally. Don't forget that. Oh, so... There are tens of millions of places like this one. I just started before you, that's all. I don't understand. There are tens of millions of places like this? Cardia looked around the plaza, clearly confused. There wasn't much I could do to help her understand. Explaining it would only make her more confused. I decided to just watch for now. I unsheathed Bifrost from its scabbard. Crackle! As soon as I touched the blade to the ground, crimson lightning sparked violently from it. Alert! Authorization requested. Bifrost itself was a manifestation of interference power, and Izel had added extra measures. If this were a newly created beginner account, bing! Master, the hero is awaiting your command. A holographic window popped up on the right side of my vision. It was Jinho Jiang's control screen. His security was practically non-existent due to his low level, making it easy to hack with basic skills. I ignored Cardia, who was staring at me blankly, and returned Bifrost to its scabbard. "You said you received a revelation from a goddess?" "Oh yes. She said that if I want to return home, I need to save Ram with the help of my allies." "I see. At least a 4-star then." Jinho Jiang seemed to have incredible luck. I clicked my tongue and sat back down. Cardia kept pestering me about what I'd just done, but I stayed silent. It wasn't until 2 hours later that Jinho Jiang finally started moving. When Jinho Jiang returned to the game, he immediately went to the Mission tab. Greek. The door connecting to the rift in space-time opened wide. Cardia, who had been chattering like a sparrow, turned her attention to it. "That's the signal. I'm off, mister." But you're really not coming?" "I can't go if I wanted to." "Right. I'll be back soon." After energetically replying, Cardia straightened her clothes and dashed into the rift. The door in the center of the plaza closed silently. Going solo up to the 4th floor. This guy wasn't just a casual player, he was beyond clueless. He hadn't even used his summoning tickets for premium or free summons. No items, no facilities built, and he only sent the basic hero out on missions. Once Jinho Jiang finished his commands, he went back into another long period of inactivity. I sighed. I drew Bifrost again. Placing the blade on the ground, crimson lightning sparked up once more, but this time it wasn't for hacking. Once the current was strong enough, I grasped the hilt with both hands and plunged the blade deep into the ground. Crackle! Wha! A small girl appeared, bursting out of the air with stardust swirling around her. Iselle collapsed onto the ground, twitching uncontrollably. Holding on. After writhing and shouting nonsense, Iselle sprang to her feet, glaring at me with sharp eyes. "What the heck? I was in the middle of the perfect selling point!" Her hair was a mess like a bird's nest, and she was carrying a black plastic box at her waist. Smoke drifted from the edges of the box. "Wait a second." Suddenly, Iselle opened the lid of the plastic box. Inside were a bunch of rectangular components connected by wires. I quickly realized it was a miniature graphics card. "Why isn't the fan spinning? Is it broken? No way. It's broken." "No!" Iselle collapsed to the ground, shaking her head in despair. "You monster! You broke my Freedom XY46! Beep!" A warning sound came from the wristwatch she wore as she glared at me. "Oh no, it's almost trading time. Just wait. Once I escape from here, you're done." I grabbed Iselle by the back of her neck before she could run off, causing her to fall to the ground again. "Where are you think you're going?" In the past, I had to watch as Iselle disappeared after saying whatever she wanted, but not anymore. "Isn't this account under your care? Don't you think you're being a bit negligent? I came to help, and yet you don't even show up." "Oh, right. They did say someone would be sent." Iselle blinked at me blankly, then closed her eyes. "Go back." "Huh? Just go back. This place is finished anyway. Can't you tell? The master has no intention of playing the game. That guy has picked me up open while he's playing another game." "Playing another game?" I looked up. The sky was sparkling, but the control screen hadn't moved. If he really wanted to play, he shouldn't have installed it in the first place. And here I am, a top graduate from the fairy school, reduced to scrounging for coins. Iselle looked like she was about to cry. "Anyway, don't bother me. I need to earn money and escape this place, and I'll make you pay for wrecking my Freedom XY46. Now, if you'll excuse me." I tripped Iselle as she tried to run away, and she fell face first into the plaza floor. "Ack! We are not done talking." "What, you still have more to say?" Iselle turned back to me, rubbing her now red nose. "You should investigate why the game is not being played." "Investigate? Does there have to be a reason? Maybe he just got bored." "That's not it." I chuckled. If he didn't want to play, he would have logged out and uninstalled the game. But he's kept it open. There were some odd details in his conversation with anything. His friends complained about it being a luck-based game, and he himself wasn't sure it would be fun. If that were true, he would have quit right after finishing the tutorial. A minor suspicion, but I had a bad feeling about it. Whatever he's thinking, it's none of my business. Money is king. I need money so I can start fresh with a sleek master like Loki, so just leave me alone. Now, if you'll excuse me... I brought the edge of Bifrost's blade close to Iselle. Crackle. Ah! The effect was immediate. Iselle flopped around like a fish just pulled from the water. Who said you could leave? My Freedom XY? The coin mining machine she'd been clutching was completely fried. The wires and components were melted together from overheating. Honestly, she should be thankful I was trying to help her. I kicked the box of the destroyed Freedom XY46 aside. The shattered remains of the graphics card scattered across the ground. You monster! Quit this coin nonsense. I'm serious. It's for your own good. But this is the only way to make money. I need money so I can butter up the upper eyes and get assigned to a better waiting room.
The director even promised I'd be paired with a top-tier master. You got scammed. Don't talk about it like it's someone else's problem. You're the one who broke my Freedom XY46 Super Strike custom. Now that it's come to this, I'm going to... Crackle. Ah! Exactly like in Taunea, Iselle was totally helpless. She still hadn't learned her lesson. I'm going to investigate. You're going to help me. But I started to unsheath my sword again, and Iselle's face turned purple. How am I supposed to help? The master's level is so low. I don't have much power. Use this to cover the lack of interference. Sure. I tossed Bifrost at her feet. Iselle grinned mischievously. You fool. If I get rid of this sword, you'll be at my mercy. I snapped my fingers, and the blade of Bifrost, still lying on the ground, sparked with electricity. What did you say? Nothing. Look up Jinho Jiang's phone usage records. If he's playing another game, find out what it is. Also, check what he was doing before installing Pick Me Up. Find out who he was talking to on Coco Talk. I want a report in an hour. No funny business. Iselle made a pitiful face, grabbed Bifrost hesitantly, and disappeared in a shower of stardust. Once again, alone, I turned my attention back to the door in front of me. It seemed Cardia was still working hard on her mission on the 4th floor, clueless about her own predicament, fighting monsters with all her might. How many waiting rooms must have vanished? The number must be in the millions by now. Still, I wasn't dwelling on it much, just as I hadn't worried about Africa when I was in Korea. There were a few strange things about Jinho Jiang's actions. If I could resolve those, I wouldn't care whether this waiting room collapsed or not. Before Cardia even returned, Iselle brought me the report on Jinho Jiang in less than an hour. I slowly scanned the letters on the paper. He mainly plays Hellground, huh? It seemed he wasn't much into mobile games. There was no indication he had any interest in Pick Me Up at all. If he's not going to play, why install it? What a waste of data. I turned to the next page, where I found a summary of Jinho Jiang's recent Coco Talk messages. The name of the person he'd been chatting with, one-on-one, was Auntie. Auntie? I blinked in surprise. Starting from the top, I began to read through it. Auntie. Jinho, are you awake? 12:02 a.m. 12:03 a.m. No, I'm not. What's up? Auntie. I need a favor. Can you help me out? 12:05 a.m. The Coco Talk chat log continued. The conversation that started just after midnight went on till 1 a.m. Auntie. She doesn't listen to me. You were close to her, right? Could you talk to her for me? 12:57 a.m. 12:59 a.m. Okay, I'll try. Auntie. If you succeed, I'll give you a gift. Those long padded jackets are popular these days, right? Don't you want to buy one? 1 a.m. Oh, really? I'll try even harder then. Auntie. Thanks, Jinho. Fighting. 1:05 a.m. That was where the Coco Talk conversation ended. So that's what happened. A few days ago, it seemed Jinho Jiang's aunt had asked him for advice. The subject of that conversation was none other than anything. Apparently, anything had become so absorbed in gaming that she was neglecting real life. Of added concern, understandable from a parent's perspective. To Jinho Jang, she was auntie, but to anything, she was her mother. It seemed anything had been playing games all day, barely getting any sleep, struggling at work, and living off instant ramen stacked in her cupboard. Her mother was understandably worried about her health. She noticed anything had stopped saying goodnight every evening, a routine they'd always had. On top of that, she listed more than 10 other things she was concerned about, all of which she unloaded on Jinho Jang. And so in the end, she'd given him a task, sweetened with the promise of a gift. Anything. She wanted him to stop her from playing the game. Interesting. So this kid was sent here to sabotage us, to pull anything away from pick-me-up. You plan to interfere with us, do you? I crumpled up the report and tossed it aside. Not on my watch.
Chapter 243. It was clear that Anything's obsession with the game was starting to interfere with her daily life. I'd been through the same phase myself. Back when I worked for a major company, I dreaded going to work every day. The feeling of liberation when I slammed my resignation letter on my boss's desk made me feel like I owned the world. Well, I did manage to succeed somehow. After that, I built a stable income by amassing hundreds of thousands of subscribers on MyTube, but I couldn't guarantee that anything would have the same success. But quitting the game wasn't an option. This was just the beginning. No one leaves before finishing what they started. An hour later, Cardia returned from her mission. As soon as she saw me, she waved and ran over. "Good thing you're not dead yet." "Of course. I'm super strong, you know. I totally took care of those goblins with a swift slash bam." Cardia mimicked swinging a sword, smiling brightly. However, she couldn't hide the fatigue etched into the corners of her face. I could tell by now, this little one hadn't experienced much real combat. The psychological toll of real battles, where blood and flesh fly, must have been significant for her. "But mister, could you accompany me from the 5th floor onward? I promise I won't be a burden." "I can't go if I wanted to." "What do you mean? The goddess said a powerful ally would fight alongside me." "That ally is definitely not me." Jinho Chang's control window moved. He was checking the results of the stage clear. Perfect timing. I snapped my fingers. "Master, congratulations on clearing the 4th floor. The 5th floor is expected to be a boss stage. How about recruiting a new hero to strengthen your team? Currently, you can get 2 premium summon tickets as part of an event. Don't miss the chance to get a 5-star hero." A tip popped up on Jinho Chang's screen. I had prepared Isel for this moment in advance. I blatantly displayed the message, and even if Jinho Jang wasn't interested in the game, he'd at least have to see the prompt. Stopping Jinho Jang, the assassin sent from Anything's mother, was simple. Just get him addicted to the game too. He didn't need to play it all the way through. As long as he didn't quit before Anything cleared the 100th floor, he'd be a perfect shield for Anything. Luckily, Pick Me Up had a unique charm compared to other mobile games. That's why new players who came to me for help rarely quit. Once I guided them to a certain point, they wouldn't need me anymore. After summoning a hero, I'd build the training facility. That's where the first main party would come together. I waited for Jinho Chang to start summoning. "Master, would you like to log out?" "Yes." "Goodbye." The screen went dark. Jinho Jang had logged out without summoning, ignoring the tip altogether and just closing the game. This guy had absolutely no interest in Pick Me Up. If he showed even a little enthusiasm, I could guide him like I did with Anything. But when he's like this, it's troublesome. I can only interfere in limited ways since I'm just a character within the game. Should I try a different approach? There were other options, though they were far more tedious and time-consuming. For now, I decided to watch the situation. Jinho Jang didn't seem to be pressuring Anything too much at the moment either. My lodging was set next to Cardia's room. There were only about 10 rooms in the level 1 lodging to begin with. The kitchen had nothing but potatoes and water.
That night, I was able to have grilled potatoes for a long time. The next day, Jinho Jang logged back into the game. Master, give your heroes the chance to grow stronger. How about building a training facility? The heroes will train themselves thanks to pick-me-up sophisticated AI system. Would you like to build a training facility? No. Jinho Jang ignored Isel's tip again. I pushed Isel to display several more tips, but each time Jinho Jang rejected them outright. Anything? How's it going? WKD. This game sucks. It's no different from all the other auto games. You summon heroes, send them into dungeons, and just watch. If you don't pay, you're stuck. And Ten King. You're just low level. As you play, there's way more to do. There's plenty to manage. Give it a little more time. My heroes are good, right? WKD. Not really. The game's just boring. NK Miang. Semi. I clicked my tongue. He's calling it boring without even trying it. Jinho Jang's indifference was starting to show. Of course, anything wouldn't quit easily, but if things continued like this, her playtime would naturally decrease. This wasn't a good situation, especially with how busy things were right now. Sir, what do you think? I'm good enough to be your companion, right? Take this chance to recruit a cute and strong genius swordmaster. You won't get another opportunity. In the lobby of the level 1 lodging, Cardia was swinging her sword in front of me. Blue flames flickered along the blade. It was a basic weapon enchantment spell. Hiya! I ignored Cardia's flashy moves and looked ahead. Isel was slumped over clutching a crypto mining rig. Didn't sell my Batcoin in time because of that sucker. It's all over. This place is done for. Master's going to quit. I'm going to disappear. Damn it, if I had sold just one day earlier. I sobbed, clutching her head. I had grown used to this sight. If you don't know how to handle it, you should have just taken a part-time job instead. Tisk. I spoke up. When the master logs in tomorrow, show the tip again. You can adjust the graphics, right? Make it a bit more flashy with some sparkling effects. Also, let him know there's a new event. What's the point? He's not interested. He's definitely going to quit. I half drew Bifrost. Eek! All right, I'll do it. 20 level 4 goblins showed up on the 4th floor, you know, and both of my key allies were crazy in their own ways. One had their head in the clouds, and the other was a sucker. I'm the only sane one here. It's tough to keep my head straight as it is. By now, I should have been ready to upgrade to a 5-star. Instead, I was stuck cleaning up for these idiots. They're dragging me into their mess. Suppressing my irritation, I glanced to the right. There, part of Jinho Jang's message to anything had appeared. WKD. What's so special about this hand hero? What makes him worth the hype? He's kind of weird, always carrying around some weird horse statue. Isn't he a pervert? Lol, who even likes trash like that? Lol. I could tolerate insults about myself, but mocking the horse statue? At this rate, Jinho Jang's insults had crossed the line. Now I was willing to do whatever it took. You've gathered the master's data, right? I spoke with a menacing tone to Isel. Isel frantically nodded. Ding!
An alert sound accompanied the display of the main screen on Jinho Jang's phone, a type of hacking. With this, I could control Jinho Jang's phone. If I left things up to him, he'd waste time doing other stuff, so I decided to intervene myself. Let's see. I had already scanned through the endless KokoTalk chat logs. I tapped the green icon at the bottom of the main screen. It opened Naver, Korea's largest search engine, already logged in. I checked the emails first. Just spam. Then I moved on to the blog and forum tabs. It seemed Jinho Jang had a blog of his own. I entered the blog. The blog title appeared in the upper right corner, written in rainbow-colored letters. Behind the letters was an illustration of a twin-tailed schoolgirl making a heart shape with her hands. I tapped on the latest post. Today, Nico-chan is a good girl. A white cake prepared for Nico-chan's birthday. Happy birthday, Nico. Watch the second movie for the 120th time. After skimming through the KokoTalk chats, it became clear that Jinho Jang was somewhat of a socialite, a so-called weirdo. Many of the KokoTalk profiles he was following seemed to belong to a specific type of girl. I should respect people's preferences. Quietly, I closed the holographic window. I'm not narrow-minded like Jinho Jang. It doesn't matter what someone likes. Everyone's free to have their own tastes. But I'll use this. How should I make use of this? Maybe I should anonymously message him, threatening to leak his blog to his school's group chat? Not a bad plan. I could even throw in a few of those 18-plus videos stored on his phone for good measure. I could already picture Jinho Jang panicking and going wild. Eek! Isel shuddered violently. What is it? No, it just suddenly felt cold. What a weakling. I clicked my tongue and folded my arms. You know, when I was in RAM, Cardia was still lost in her own little world. I looked Cardia up and down. Twin braids, a petite build, and a somewhat cute face. Isel, do you have any red ribbons or school uniforms in your room? School uniforms? What are you talking about? We need to get the master's attention, don't we? That's the only way we'll get anything done. I do have them, but... So she actually had them. Great. I strode over to Cardia, and the next day, Master WKD, welcome to pick me up. With the sound of a notification, the sky brightened. Loading is complete. Touch select. Jinho Jang entered the main screen. Heroes need companions to fight alongside. How about a premium summon to improve your combat experience? Once again, Jinho Jang ignored the tip. I glanced at Isel, nodding. She looked back at me nervously, then disappeared in a shower of sparkles. Master, Hero Cardia, 4 stars, is requesting a companion. Jinho Jang closed the prompt with an irritated swipe. I signaled to Cardia, who was standing in the square. Nico? Ni? Cardia hesitated, then awkwardly placed her hands on her head, mimicking a cat. She continued with a light dance, making a heart shape with her hands. Looks like he didn't see it. Again. Do I really have to do this? You said you wanted to go home, right? Well, yes, but... Then there's no choice. This is for Ram. Cardia, dressed in a school uniform, pouted as she repeated the motion. After several attempts, Jinho Jang, who was about to send a message to anything, finally glanced at Cardia in the square. Master, Hero Cardia, 4 stars, is requesting a companion. With a half-crying expression, Cardia made a heart shape again. We dressed her in a school uniform, dyed her hair black, and even added a red ribbon. We needed to catch his attention somehow, even if it meant putting on this ridiculous act. That's where getting him hooked on the game starts. I looked at Cardia, who was trembling as she forced a smile. Last night, I had to explain the situation of this world to Cardia, who had been stubbornly refusing. Cosplaying had become a necessity. I told her everything I could about the game's goals and the master's existence. Cardia bombarded me with questions, and I answered as best I could. Although she seemed a bit oblivious, she was smart enough to understand. She couldn't grasp everything 100%, but Cardia realized that the master was indispensable. Afterwards, I suggested that if this place didn't work out, she could come along with me to my waiting room. She had a few quirks in her personality, but her potential was solid. With proper training, she'd be able to hold her own in Townia. But Cardia refused. She said her parents and friends were waiting for her. That made sense. She was fighting for her own reasons, after all. If this doesn't work, I'll have to use a more bothersome method. I had already secured all of Jinho Jang's personal information. If this strategy failed, it would be a pain for both him and me. It was in his best interest to just accept this. Nico. There was no need for her to say it out loud, though. After staring at Cardia in the square for a while, Jinho Jang finally began operating the screen. Ding! Master, summoning is begun. At least you finally took the bait. I let out a sigh of relief.
Chapter 244. Clang! The iron gate on the right side of the plaza opened. It was a place that hadn't opened even once since I arrived in Rame. It was the summoning hall. You currently have 2 advanced summoning tickets. You can summon twice for free. Further summons will require 500 gems. Tips: special opportunity for new masters. Don't forget the newbie package. A white light began to pour out from the open door of the summoning hall. Cardia's eyes sparkled as she traced a heart shape with her hands. The master is really bringing new companions, Nico. Master, initiating advanced summoning. Let's see which hero appears. Click, whirl, boom. Rare. Master WKD has acquired the hero Leon, 3 stars. Rare. Master WKD has acquired the hero Veda, 3 stars. Beyond the light of the summoning hall, 2 shadows emerged.
2 paid summons using tickets. Judging from Jinho's control screen, it seemed he had no intention of summoning any further. There are always players like this. Some don't bother summoning low-tier heroes, claiming they're useless. But compared to earlier, when he was completely disengaged, this was a huge improvement. Next. Understood, Nico. Cardia responded energetically, striking another pose. From my heart to your heart, Nico Nico Ni, sending you smiles. She seemed excited, shouting lines I hadn't even taught her. Master, the hero Cardia, 4 stars, requests the training hall facility. Love, Nico. Constructing facility. Please select the type of facility you wish to build. New master event. The first facility construction will not cost gems. You have selected training hall. Would you like to proceed with construction? Yes. Rumble. With a strange noise, the gate on the south side of the plaza opened this time. It was the training hall. This is incredible. Is this some kind of magic spell, Nico? Not exactly. The cosplay was more effective than I'd imagined. Jinho quickly accepted Cardia's suggestion, without hesitation, from summoning heroes to building the training hall. I scratched my back head. Though it worked, this was only a temporary fix. No matter how much attention the cosplay and show might attract, if Jinho didn't truly get interested in the game, it would all be for nothing. Of course, that's a matter of personal preference, so there's nothing I could do about it. For now, I decided to use Cardia as a guide to provide the basic game instructions. The time frame that anything gave me for this dispatch was about a week. Not much time left. To the 5th floor at least. I had to make sure Jinho experienced the boss stage, which was central to pick me up. After that, I just have to watch. If that didn't work, I might have to resort to threats. However, threats ran the risk of exposing my true identity. That would have to be a last resort. I nodded and looked to the right. The 2 newly summoned heroes were walking into the plaza. One was a mage, wearing a wide-brimmed hat, a black robe, and holding a crooked wooden staff. Her attire clearly advertised her profession. The other was a warrior. Dressed in leather armor, he carried a long shield on his back and had a long sword strapped to his waist. Nico! Cardia smiled brightly and drew a heart with her hands. Forming a party. Drag and drop the heroes. Cardia, 3 stars, has joined Party 1. Jinho placed the mage into Party 1 where Cardia was already assigned. But that was it. The party menu closed and the main screen reappeared. The sky above turned a hazy shade of yellow. He minimized the screen. He was doing something else now. I could now guess whether or not he was playing the game. When the screen is turned off, the color changes. In Party 1, the mage joined Cardia, but Jinho didn't touch the warrior at all and left the game idle. I could guess why. Is this guy serious? The mage, meeting my gaze, bowed slightly. Pardon me, but could you tell me where this is? A soft voice. The woman, who had pressed down her hat, smiled with her eyes as she looked at me. And who are you? Where is this place? The boy, with a rough demeanor, despite his young face, spat on the ground as he glanced between me and Cardia. Though he looked youthful, his wild aura ruined his overall impression. He reached for his sword's hilt. Did you bring me here? Hello! Cardia bent at a 90-degree angle to greet them. My name is Cardia. I look forward to working with you as a companion in battle. Companion? What nonsense is that? Well... Cardia looked at me and gave a bashful smile. Sigh, how bothersome. I stepped forward. It took half a day to explain the situation to the 2 of them. There was no need to mention things like world destruction or goddesses. They wouldn't believe it anyway. The core message was simple. If they wanted to return home, they had to fight monsters and survive. The survival instinct is the strongest motivator. Making them believe it wasn't hard either. While Jinho was away, I took the 2 of them through a lower floor trial. Although the place hadn't fully unlocked autonomous actions yet, I secretly bypassed that restriction using Bifrost's power. After a few rounds of explanation, I understand, to some extent. That night at the training hall, the female mage placed her wide-brimmed hat on the floor. Her name was Veda. Her specialty was manipulation and telekinesis. According to Cardia, the sight of goblins swinging swords at each other was quite a spectacle. You'll learn more as you climb the tower. Indeed, interesting. Veda smiled softly.
She was quick to grasp the situation. Even in her first real battle, she didn't panic. She's on a whole different level. Forget top-tier heroes. I used to challenge the boss stages with just one-star heroes. If I had someone like her when I attempted the 5th floor in Tawina, the difficulty would have dropped exponentially. It's infuriating. Is this so-called master controlling me? The 3-star warrior Leon frowned as he fiddled with his sword hilt. Unlike Veda, Leon had been harder to convince. He had rebelled, shouting that this was all nonsense, and even had drawn his sword at me. But I had quickly made him quiet down. Filthy monster. I can hear you. We just need to clear the 5th floor. Once we got past the boss stage, I'd be able to gauge Jinho's attitude. By then, my dispatch period would almost be over. As a member of Tawina, I wasn't supposed to intervene directly in this place. These 3 would have to clear the 5th floor themselves. Jinho didn't seem interested in summoning any more heroes. Even if the party was short-staffed, with 1 4-star hero and 2 3-star heroes, including a rare class like a mage, we had more than enough to clear the stage. The party combination was perfect. The warrior would take the front line, the mage would handle firepower, and the magic swordsman would fill in the gaps. With a little basic teamwork, I could train them well enough. The problem is,
I recall Jinho's gameplay. He summoned 2 heroes, but only placed 1 in Party 1 and favored the female while leaving the other untouched. Veda and Leon, the mage and the warrior, a woman and a man, respectively. Some masters insist on playing inefficiently for absurd reasons. Jinho was one of the worst, a guy who only uses female heroes. If he had been my master, I'd have quit Townie long ago. Jinho didn't even put Leon, the warrior, into the party. At this rate, Leon would be stuck in the waiting room during the 5th floor boss battle. The difference between 2 and 3 members isn't just one person. It opens up tactical options many times over, especially if the missing member is the tank, which is essential to any party. Where are you both from? I graduated at the top of my class from Surami Academy. Being overly responsible is a curse. I wanted a peaceful break, but I ended up in this mess. This is stressful. Anything was a noob and a troll, but at least she had tried to learn the game. But this guy, Jinho... I held my head in my hands. Who the hell is this guy? He's here to help us. Came from far away. You could call him a teacher, yes? A teacher? He looks more like the mastermind to me. I don't trust him. Leon muttered with a sullen face. When our eyes met, he flinched and turned away. I looked Leon up and down. He was small for a guy. His features were also delicate. Isel? Yes? Isel appeared as if she'd been waiting for my call. I narrowed my eyes. Do we have any spare uniforms, other than what Cardia is wearing? We do? We do, huh? And wigs? We have that too. Why do we have those? Snap. I snapped my fingers. Isel disappeared momentarily and returned with a wig. It was a short bob style of such high quality that you'd think it was real. Jinho only uses female heroes. This habit of his would need to change as he gets used to the game, but for now, it was the reality. I had to clear the 5th floor, whatever it took. I held the wig in my right hand and looked at Leon. What is it? Leon flinched. I spoke up. Have you ever wanted to be a woman? What the hell? Are you crazy? If you don't go crazy here, you won't survive. Leon's eyes widened. Your master, Jinho, only seems to use female heroes. Oh, really? If you want to go on missions with your companions, wouldn't it be wise to make some adjustments? I guess that makes sense. Isel brought out a large box. When she opened the lid, it was full of clothes, from underwear to uniforms and stockings. I didn't want to do this either, but what choice did I have? Leon stood up with a pale face. Then, with lightning speed, he bolted toward the exit of the training hall. Catch him! Cardia and Veda sprang to their feet. The next day, Master WKD, welcome back to pick me up. Jinho logged in. Loading complete. Touch select. Jinho skipped the notices and went straight to Pick Me Up's main screen. Cardia, waiting in the plaza, quickly struck a pose. Up to this point, everything was the same as yesterday. But today, there was one more person. With hands raised above his head, mimicking rabbit ears, dancing and drawing heart shapes in the air, Leon, wearing a long-haired wig, a short school uniform, and stockings, groaned as he moved. Hee. Veda, standing beside me, chuckled coldly. Leon's body was being controlled by her. After watching the two for a while, Jinho opened the party window. Forming a party, drag and drop the heroes. Leon, 3 stars, has joined Party 1. It worked! Pretty, very, very pretty, Veda murmured, covering her mouth with her hand. Her eyes gleamed dangerously. Keep the outfit on until the master's preferences change. Of course, Veda responded as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Jinho closed the party window and stayed on the waiting room screen. It seemed he was enjoying watching the two heroes fooling around in the plaza. Ding! Master, you have an unread whisper. A chat log appeared at the bottom of the screen. The sender was anything. Anything? How's it going? Manageable? Jinho didn't reply. Anything? No reply? Guess it's going well, LOL. It's fun, right? There's a lot to think about, and it has depth. Wicked K, it's an interesting game. NK, right. Wicked K, does this game not have hero voice acting? Anything? No, it doesn't. Wicked K, why not? It seems essential. Maybe only for a guy like you. I clicked my tongue. Anything had no idea her cousin was watching the female heroes dancing with a satisfied grin. Ah! Leon screamed. It seemed Veda's control spell had weakened slightly. Kill me! Just kill me, you bastards! This much was fine. After all, his voice wouldn't reach Jinho anyway.
Chapter 245. Jinho Chang complained for a while about the lack of hero voice features for anything before stepping away. I signaled with my eyes to the two standing in the middle of the square. Cardia and Leon stopped moving, standing side by side. Damn it, I won't let this slide. Leon muttered, glaring at me. He seemed to be holding quite a grudge, but with his current skills, he still had a long way to go. I opened the door to the training room. I'll help you up to the 5th floor. If you listen to me, I'll be a great help in the future. Yes, teacher. Cardia saluted and ran toward the training room. That title doesn't suit me, but there's nothing else to do. If Ram's trio were wiped out on the 5th floor, Jinho Jang would probably quit the game. If that happened, all my efforts would be wasted. Shaking my head, I stepped into the training room. Leon followed behind, still casting murderous glances my way. I blew the whistle I got from Isel and trained the 3 of them until late at night. The 5th floor entry was approaching soon. Instead of focusing on stamina or weapon skills, which wouldn't improve much in a short time, I concentrated on their teamwork. Leon had several outbursts during training, but I tolerated it. Cardia and Veda followed my instructions without complaint, even as the training continued into the early hours. Especially Veda, the mage. Despite being pushed hard to build stamina, she didn't utter a single word of protest. She's nothing like that other mage girl who used to complain at every little thing. I set down the memo book filled with notes on the desk. The memo contained a list of things to do after clearing the 5th floor. He'll have to recruit more heroes. They need to form a 5-member party. They also need support heroes to back up their combat roles. And they have to fix the master's habits. They can't keep dressing up male heroes in female attire every time. Once Jinho Jang starts taking pick-me-up more seriously, that should naturally improve. The memo book also contains various know-how I've gained while playing as Loki in Niflheim and Han in Townia. As long as they follow it, they won't die without being able to do anything. The 3 of them were still grinding through training as dawn approached. I'll have to return to Townia soon. If Jinho Jang hesitates and doesn't challenge the 5th floor today, I plan to use Cardia and Leon to push for it. A few hours later, Jinho Jang logged in. The first thing he did was gift shop. With 30,000 gold, you have purchased 3 rabbit headbands. You have gifted a rabbit headband to Cardia, 4 stars. You have gifted a rabbit headband to Veda, 3 stars. You have gifted a rabbit headband to Leon, 3 stars. Unbelievable. Instead of using the free draw, he wasted gold on such useless things. Anyway, I have to keep the master in a good mood. The 3 of them agreed to wear the rabbit headbands whenever Jinho Jiang was logged in. When we get out of here, I'll kill you, Leon grit his teeth, looking up. Cardia gently touched the rabbit ears on Leon's head and said, "It suits you." "Do you want to die, huh? First you put me in a short skirt and now this garbage?" "But it's so cute." "I can't believe I'm teamed up with people like this." Despite their bickering, the 3 of them entered the dimensional rift. Jinho Jiang had finally decided to enter the 5th floor challenge. Surprisingly, Jinho Jiang was paying close attention to the game screen. In the past, he would send them on missions and immediately go AFK, but this time he seemed intent on watching how the heroes fought. "See you later," Cardia waved at me before stepping into the dimensional rift. Clunk. The door closed and the 3 disappeared. About half a day passed. Ram's first party successfully cleared the boss stage without losing a single member. Although they were 1 member short, everyone was at least 3 stars, and the party composition was balanced. Barring some exceptionally bad luck, their strength was more than enough to pass the 5th floor without issue. This was how things should be. Townia was unusually difficult, spewing thousands of goblins even on the lower floors. According to the reports, they did face some crises on the 5th floor, but it seems the 3 of them worked together to overcome them. It was practically easy mode. Some people struggle, facing life and death at every 5th floor, barely crawling their way up. Well, as long as they cleared it, it's fine. That concludes my job. Soon I'll be boarding the airship from Townia, set to depart at dawn. Thankfully, Jinho Jiang seems intent on continuing the game. According to Isel's report, after subscribing to Anything's MyTube channel, he's been watching Mission Clear videos. At the very least, he's taken an interest in Pick Me Up. Whether this interest is temporary or lasting, only time will tell. It's too early to judge now. With 10,000 gold, you have purchased kitty pajamas. You have gifted kitty pajamas to Cardia, 4 stars. His play style seems twisted, but it's better than indifference. After giving Isel my email address, I began preparing to leave. If Jinho Jiang shows any suspicious activity, I'll be notified immediately. His blog address or the Coco Talk group chat link will come in handy at that time. It's been an odd way of living. It was too peaceful. I couldn't even remember the last time I spent my time with such trivial thoughts. In a way, this assignment with Ram felt like a kind of vacation from the missions and training that had consumed me. Once I return, things will get busy again. The break is over. 5-star promotions, class change, and missions beyond the 50th floor are waiting for me. I recalled Priya, slicing through enemies with her shining sword. Behind her, tens of thousands of mercenaries were cheering. A massive force had rallied behind a girl who had no power once. Civil wars were breaking out across the continent as factions aligned with princes and princesses clashed. And my role will be to assist Priya in leading the war to victory and to drive out the mysterious enemies that once destroyed Townia. There's also the matter of the outside. Anything who just reached the 50th floor had become a desirable target for PEP users. Just thinking about it gives me a headache. I chuckled and tightened my cloak. After tying my belt with the sword sheath in a small pouch, I was ready to leave. With no other belongings, except my armor, weapons, and horse statue, my preparations were complete. I stood up and pushed in the chair. As I left the room, a message popped up. Dispatch end notification. Your friend, Anything's hero Han, 4 stars, has completed his dispatch. Compliment your hero for their hard work. Notice: The airship Lucette from Townia requests to dock. Since your master's waiting room lacks a dimensional rift, the airship will dock outside. Will you accept? Yes.
They're letting me go smoothly. If things had gone poorly, Jinho Jang might have tried to stop me from returning, forcing anything into a corner. Using those guys turned out to be the right move. I stepped out into the square. The three of them were nowhere in sight. By now, they were probably enjoying a feast in the dormitory lobby. Jinho Jang had bought a set meal from the gift shop and laid it out. After eating only potatoes for 3 meals a day, they were finally tasting proper food. They were probably busy stuffing themselves. Did I come through the warehouse? I opened the door to the warehouse wide. As expected, a blue light was flickering beyond the display stand. I started walking toward it. "Wait, where are you going?" A hurried voice echoed in my ears. When I turned around, Cardia was catching her breath, having rushed over. "I've been looking for you for a while. We saved a portion for you." "There's no need. You can have it all." "But where are you going?" "I told you already. I'm going back." "Ah, I thought that was a joke. Like a test? If we pass, you'll fight alongside us or something?" Cardia smiled bashfully. I chuckled in disbelief. Why would I joke about that? I don't mess around. Like I said, I'm from somewhere else, and now I'm going back there. So, it wasn't a joke? Yeah, kid, this is where it ends. Wait, forever? Like, we'll never meet again? Never. Forever. That's a bit of an issue. Cardia scratched her cheek, looking troubled. What a funny kid. Wasn't she the one talking about burying herself here when we first met? There's some paper in the desk drawer. You can follow what's written there to take care of yourselves. If you follow the instructions carefully, you won't die in some ridiculous way. I turned my back to Cardia and started walking toward the swirling dimensional vortex. Aren't you going to say goodbye to the other two? Why should I? I can't stand clingy farewells. They'd probably be happy that I'm leaving anyway. Is it really true? We'll never meet again? Never ever? For real? For real, for real, for real, for real? This kid. I looked back. Cardia, with a determined look, put on the rabbit ear headband. Nico, Nico, ni, from my heart into your heart, Stop it right now before I throw up. Hee-hee. I sighed deeply. What a nuisance, all the way to the end. I knew I should have snuck out quietly. Oh, by the way, you never even told us your name. That's pretty rude, don't you think? Tawinya's Hun Israt. Is that your name? Got a problem with it? No, nothing. I'll remember it. So, does that mean we can meet again? That's up to you. If Jinho Jang can catch up to anything's progress, that is. Well then, that's all I need. Good. See you later, Han Oppa. I smiled bitterly and began walking again. As I stepped into the dimensional vortex, a blinding light enveloped my vision. And just like that, my dispatch ended. On the 4th floor of the Town Weenie waiting room, in the mansion of the first party, I found myself deep in thought. As expected, number 396 is the front runner. I placed number 396 at the front of the display shelf. Number 396 had undergone a total of 6 modifications, my proudest creation. It seemed like a perfect candidate to lead the cavalry. But something feels lacking, don't you think? They all look the same to me. What's lacking? Gugu Kam stared at me as if I was saying something absurd. I frowned. The same? Are you kidding? Number 396's front right leg is tilted precisely 17.3 degrees. It took me 5 hours of tweaking to find the perfect angle. Knowing that, how could you say it's the same as the others? I should probably use number 396 as the leader. But right now, it's like choosing between black bean noodles and spicy seafood soup. I don't know what to choose, just like the conversation happening upstairs. WKD, why is there no voice? Don't you think that's strange? Anything. Why would that be strange? WKD, if there's no voice, what's the point? Anything. What? WKD, why is there no voice? What is the point? Jinho Jang was babbling nonsense again. Even after I returned, the two of them would occasionally have these exchanges in chat. Anything. But hey,
You haven't quit yet. I guess you're enjoying it. WKD. I don't know. Anything. What do you mean you don't know? I can tell just by looking. The more you play, the more there is to do, so keep going. Don't give up just because it gets hard in the middle. If you work hard enough, you can do it without spending money. WKD. By the way, does that hero, Han, have any skins? Anything. What skins? WKD. If you put on a skin, it seems like you can change the gender. Apparently, Leon's cross-dressing is becoming so convincing that it's confusing even Jinho Jang. There is no skin system in this game. I shrugged and continued examining number 396. In any case, it seems that Jinho Jang has finally started taking Pick Me Up seriously. Judging from the screenshot he sent to Anything, it looks like he's put together a decent party. He even seems to be using male heroes now. The only surprising thing is that Leon is still cross-dressing. Also, Anything's playtime has been increasing day by day. She still has a real life to take care of, doesn't she? You can't just hold your phone all day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Even if it's to earn money for microtransactions, there needs to be a balance between life and gaming. Gaming should be in moderation. About 16 hours a day should be just right. You're the one. I picked up statue number 437. Number 396 lacked the majesty I was looking for. With its left hind leg bent at a 3.7-degree angle, number 437 seemed far more fitting to lead.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like the video. Have a suggestion? Let me know in the comments.